To Keep the Faith with Pastor Frank. Good morning. I see. Good morning, Rookie. It's good to see you online. I pray you're doing good. How's your motorcycle running? As this morning, we're going to be in Romans 14, and we're going to talk about criticism. Beware of criticism. And so, if you join me, give me an opportunity to greet you. And we'll get started. So we'll look at Romans chapter 14, and we'll probably read a few verses here, just for something that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'll read Romans 14, and I'll start with verse 1. As for the one who is weak in the faith, welcome him, but not to quarrel over opinions. One person's believes he may eat anything, while the weak person eats only vegetables. Let not the one who eats despise the one who abstains, and let not the one who abstains pass judgment on the one who eats, for God has welcomed him. Who are you to pass judgment on the servant of another? It is before his own master that he stands or falls, and that he will be upheld, for the Lord is able to make him stand. One person esteems one day as better than another, while another esteems all days alike. Each one should be fully convinced in his own mind. The one who observes the day observes it in honor of the Lord. The one who eats in honor of the Lord, since he gives thanks to God, while the one who abstains in honor of the Lord and gives thanks to God. For none of us lives to himself, and none of us dies to himself. For if we live to the Lord. If we die to the Lord. So then, whether we live or whether we die, we are the Lord's. For to this end Christ died and lived again, that he might be Lord both of the dead and of the living. Why do you pass judgment on your brother, or why do you despise your brother? For we will all stand before the judgment seat of God. And I'll leave it there. Good morning, Sister Gail. It's good to see you online. Good morning, Brother Lewis. Good to see you online. Good morning, Sister Gail. Sister Cheryl. It's good to see you online. I'm going to follow up on. Sister Gail, your mother's out of the hospital and she's doing better. That's good. And it's good. Rookie's doing good. His motorcycle's doing good. Good. Well, okay. This morning, I'm going to talk about something that is, I've heard over the years, and even in my career in the secular world, and in actually blue collar work and in management. So a term that I've heard many times is, good morning, Sister Jeannie, to see you online this morning. So a term that I've heard many times is, I'm going to play the devil's advocate, or constructive criticism. Now, this passage of scripture here is, uh, it says, "As for the one who is weak in faith, welcome him, but do not quarrel over opinions." And there's a reason about that. And I looked up um, criticism, and this is in ministry, usually unfavorably. Now, uh, the thing about this is that what it's saying here, uh, one person believes they can eat anything. Uh, the other person believes they can only eat vegetables. So it just goes on to say there, uh, 3, verse 3 says, "Let the one who eats despise, let not the one who eats despise people just because they're different than us." Many times, uh, uh, when people play the devil's advocate, and they want to do something critical of you, so it's really kind of a, a bullying tactic. And uh, one of the things that we need to realize is that the Lord is the one who is in charge of everything, and and, and we need to be responsible to get on. And you guys, hopefully you can hear me now, and hopefully it'll work correctly. So, um, so the point I was trying to make is that criticism is many times used under the guise of saying something unfavorable about someone, but putting it in a way that it sounds like you're trying to help them. So this tells us to avoid criticism, especially here. This says one for who is weak in faith. And a lot of times you have a chance to talk to people that are exploring faith, or they may be going through struggles. They may be going having a lot of things happen. But the fact is that they really don't need any criticism. They don't need someone telling them what they should be doing or things like that. They need someone who comes alongside them and encourages them and lifting up. And it goes on to tell us that who are you to pass judgment on the servant of another? It's before his own master that he stands or falls, and he will be upheld, for the Lord is able to make him stand. So even though it may not look like someone is strong, and even though it may not look, you may think you have a better solution to everything, sometimes that solution is better kept to yourself, because they're going to have to go by God's solution. So here again on verse 5, it says, one person esteems one day better than another, while another esteems all days alike. Each one should be fully convinced in his own mind. One observes, they observe it in honor of the Lord. The one who eats in honor of the Lord, since he gives thanks to God, while the one abstains in honor of the Lord and gives thanks to God. For none of us live to himself, and none of us dies to himself. For if we live to the Lord, and if we die to the Lord. For then, whether we live or whether we die, we are the Lord's. For to this end Christ died and lived again, that he might be Lord both of the dead and of the living. So the real point is that whenever we do something, we need to be convinced in our own mind that we're doing. I know some people celebrate. I've even had people tell me, well, you should be praying every morning. You should get up at a certain time in the morning and you should pray for an hour before you do anything else. And, I tried that back when I was working and had to be to work at 6:30, and that was very difficult. And some people say you should set a time during the day. Then you should set a time during the evening. And I've learned over the years, a considerable number of years now, that people that serve the Lord do things in different ways, but they still love the Lord and they still honor God in what they do. I know that a lot of people have days that they celebrate in honor of the Lord and things, while others have few days that they celebrate. But the thing is we just need to do it. Whatever we do, we need to do it in honor of the Lord. And remember that there are those there, especially those that are just starting out. They don't need to be criticized. They need to be encouraged. And I know that it's a temptation when somebody does something different than you are. It's a temptation to think you know better. It's a temptation that you know what's right. But the fact is that many times we need to be careful that our criticism doesn't be judgment. And because we're not supposed to judge one another. And I know people will take that and they say, "Oh, well, you can just do anything you want to do," and things. No, I'm not advocating that at all. There's been many people that I've warned. I've said, "You're not going down the right path. This isn't going to end well for you," and take a conversation from that, or not, because some people don't want to talk about it. But the fact is that generally people, as we go through our life, we need to learn and not only learn ourselves, but teach others to listen to God and give honor to God in what we do. Uh, if you want to eat only vegetables, then that's up between you and God. If you want to eat whatever else, that's between you and God. Uh, but also the way that a lot of people um, celebrate things, some make a big deal out of it, some are quiet, and others, that's you've got to honor God in whatever you do. And if I just want to suggest that one of the things that we need to realize is here, and it's throughout this whole story that God has created, especially in the New Testament, a love that needs to look past everything else and see that people are worth redeeming. Because if Jesus Christ felt that people were worth redeeming, then we've got to understand that we need to go the extra mile and be all in with Christ to see people redeemed and to see salvation happen. So this morning, I again apologize for all of the ins and outs and arounds, but I just wanted to share with you, be careful of criticizing, be very careful of judging, and follow God with your heart and love your brothers and sisters and love the people around you and let God touch you and just use you to lift someone else up. Keep the faith. I'll see you Thursday morning, 6:30. God bless.